Audrey Kathleen Rustin Hepburn was born on May 4, 1929, to the Dutch Baroness Ella van Heemstra and fascist sympathizer Joseph Hepburn in Brussels. She nearly died 3 weeks later from whooping cough. The iconic and classical style of Audrey Hepburn remains popular half a century later, but the lady behind the fashionable movie star is one of depth and complexity. At a tender young age of 6, Audrey's father, Joseph, walked out on the family with no warning after years of arguments between he and Ella. Rumor has it Joseph was more supportive of the fascist movement than Ella. Her absent father caused Audrey much embarrassment and pain the remainder of her life. Days after Audrey's 10th birthday, the Nazis invaded Arnhem, Holland, where her and her mother were living.
You spent the whole war in Arnhem?
Yes.
Wasn't it pretty awful?
Yes, it was very bad.
But did you entertain the people there yourself? Is that how you began?
No, not quite how I began. I went to ballet school once I knew I was settled there for quite a while. Didn't know how long the war was going to last, so I went to a ballet school and learned to dance. And in about 1944, about a year before the end of the war, I was quite capable of performing. And it was a sort of some way in which I could make some contribution, and I did give performances to collect money for the underground, which always needed money.
And what about the Germans? What did they do about it?
Let's know about it.
Soon, strict rationing was implemented, and Audrey was barely surviving on tulip bulbs and slices of bread from grass. She became so weak that she remained in bed for days at a time. When the war ended and international aid arrived in June of 1945, Audrey was so malnourished and frail that it forever impacted her stature and dreams to dance. But Audrey still tried to pursue ballet. Moving to London to train at a top school of dance, her dreams were shattered when Marie Rambert told her she was too malnourished to be a prima ballerina. Devastated, Audrey joined a cabaret number and modeled to earn money. She was discovered by Colette during this time to star in her Broadway play Gigi in 1951. With virtually no prior acting experience, Audrey became a star in her debut performance on stage. Her grace and charm had captivated audiences, and one particularly important Hollywood director of the time, William Wyler. In 1953, she made her Hollywood premiere opposite Gregory Peck in Roman Holiday.
Will you help me get undressed, please?
Okay. There you are. You can handle the rest.
May I have some?
No. Now look.
This is very unusual. I've never been alone with a man before, even with my dress on. With my dress off, it's most unusual. I don't seem to mind. Do you?
I think I'll go out for a cup of coffee.
Her uniquely beautiful look and fresh performance won over Americans. She was presented with an Academy Award and Golden Globe for Best Actress for her role as Princess Anne or Anya Smith.
It's too much. I want to say thank you to everybody who in these past months and years have helped, guided, and given me so much. I'm truly, truly grateful and terribly happy.
The 1950s were a time of transition for the cinema world. With the threat of television taking center stage, the target audience shifted towards the youth with the advent of drive-in theaters. This demographic allowed films to go beyond your traditional family-based entertainment. But Audrey gave people, both young and old, a reason to continue going to the cinemas instead of watching television from home. Audrey Hepburn graced the screen with A-list movie stars like Gregory Peck, William Holden, Humphrey Bogart, Henry Fonda, and Fred Astaire.
Don't you just love it?
Love what?
Tiffany's.
But Audrey was never kept in their shadow.
Well, hello, how are you?
The 50s and 60s reached new heights for making film adaptations of famous Broadway musicals. Audrey's dancing skills were highlighted, and she contributed to this genre with her performance in Funny Face. And later in My Fair Lady in 1964. Audrey was very different from the other stars of the 50s and 60s. At the time, the ideal women were the curvy Marilyn Monroe, Ava Gardner, or Jane Mansfield. They were more or less pin-up girls with large chests, full skirts, and risque clothing.
Oh, how could I be a model? I have no illusions about my looks. I think my face is funny.
And then along comes this almost boyish, flat-chested, scrawny, and underdressed Audrey Hepburn. She was a breath of fresh air in her slim-fitting capri pants and ballet flats.
How do I look?
Instead of adopting the cultural normal image of the time, Audrey embraced her unique looks and learned how to enhance her natural beauty with her confidence, poise, and grace. Along with designer Givenchy, she created an obtainable and iconic look that to this day women are still drawn to. In 2007, Gap released the Audrey is Gap in Black commercial for the skinny black pant that reintroduced the style to the next generation. The roles Audrey accepted and characters she portrayed were often eager to be loved, as seen in Sabrina.
David, would you like to kiss me?
Would I?
Yes. A nice, steady kiss. Not on roller skates this time.
Roller skates?
You don't remember?
Well, I remember I had a pair of roller skates.
I was 9 years old, and you had your arms around me because you were teaching me to skate backwards. And suddenly you kissed me. I've never forgotten.
Unable to accept love, as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Holly, I'm not going to let you do this.
You're not going to let me.
Holly, I'm in love with you.
So what?
So what? So plenty. I love you. You belong to me.
No. People don't belong to people.
Of course they do.
I'm not gonna let anyone put me in a cage.
I don't want to put you in a cage. I want to love you.
It's the same thing.
Unaware of her beauty and talent as Joe Stockton in Funny Face.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
How can you possibly make a model out of that? You can't be serious.
When I get through with you, you'll look like, what do you call beautiful? A tree. You look like a tree.
And a selfless woman overcoming adversity to serve the poor as Sister Luke in A Nun's Story. Some say that her performances in these roles mirrored the depth of Audrey's life. With no formal training in acting, she wasn't confined by method acting and Stanislavski. Because of this, she always felt inadequate for the roles she received, and that made her work harder than most. She learned how to use her own experiences to bring life to her characters. She often said, "I myself was born with an enormous need for affection and a terrible need to give it." After she married, she said that she lived in constant fear of being left because of the abandonment she had experienced from her father. Even after struggling through the pain of divorce and several miscarriages, she never grew bitter or gave up on love. She just didn't know how to trust in love, and simultaneously felt very insecure and yet forever grateful for it when she found Robert Wolders.
And it's a wonderful feeling to be able to not only love somebody and be loved, but to trust them.
Audrey Hepburn's legacy is far more significant than skinny pants, oversized sunglasses, and sweet charm. It was what Audrey did off-screen with her fame that truly matters. Taking a break from acting when her boys were young, Audrey chose to be a mother first. She envied women who could handle both fame and a family at once, but she knew being a mom was a full-time job for her. Having felt neglected and abandoned by her own parents, she didn't want to fail in the most important role she would ever have. The childhood nightmares Audrey suffered through under the Nazi occupation never subsided. Stirring her to act on behalf of innocent children all over the world, Audrey dedicated her final years to working with UNICEF as a goodwill ambassador. Her commitment and generous spirit continued up until she lost her final battle with cancer at her home in Switzerland on January 20th, 1993.
Time-tested beauty tips. For attractive lips, speak words of kindness. For lovely eyes, seek out the good in people. For a slim figure, share your food with the hungry. For beautiful hair, let the child run its fingers through it once a day. For poise, walk with the knowledge that you'll never walk alone. The tender, loving care of human beings will never be obsolete. People, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, revived, reclaimed, and redeemed, and redeemed, and redeemed. Never throw out anybody. Remember, if you ever need a helping hand, you'll find one at the end of your arm. And as you grow older, you'll discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and one for helping others. Your good old days are still ahead of you. May you have many of them.